Do you want to know how to get a kid to stop picking their nose? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, and child development, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about nose picking. In this video, we're going to talk about why they do pick their nose, what do they get out of it, and then also what we can do to help them stop that bad habit. Nose picking is a nasty habit. It's gross to see somebody doing it. It usually leads to things like looking at boogers, eating boogers, and then we know that there's germs on their hands, so then germs are getting spread around to other people. This is really a gross thing to have to deal with. I know it's difficult. I know many parents want to train their children to never have any bad manners or bad habits like that. But then inevitably it seems to happen at one point or another. Now there are some adults that even pick their nose in front of other people, which is bad manners. It's bad etiquette. This is why in the old days everyone used to carry a handkerchief so that if they needed to manage anything with their nose, they could use the handkerchief to handle that situation. People don't do that as much anymore, and so the fingers just get in there. Why does that happen? Well, because there's discomfort in there. Now, when your child is young, they don't understand the manners as well. Sometimes even if you teach them, they can't get the idea of the discomfort because it's kind of an anxiety about this discomfort out of their mind. They start picking and probing and trying to get things out of their nose. Then they get a different sensation because they got something out of their nose. That different sensation is the feeling of maybe cleaner breathing, or maybe there's even kind of a cooling or burning sensation within the nose because they got in there and they got something out of it. Well, what can happen is a person can learn to focus on that other sensation as well. So sometimes a person can end up creating a habit of just putting their finger in their nose, even if there's nothing in their nose to take out. So I've known of children, not my own, but some neighbor children, who end up having very bloody noses, like red, raw noses, because they're picking at their noses all the time, picking. Even if there's nothing in there, it has just become a habit for them. So how do you help break the habit? How do you help teach the proper hygiene and get them to analyze whether they really want to put that finger in their nose right then or not? When is a good time to clean out the nose? How do we do that? There's a lot of teaching that actually goes around this nose part of our body and to help teach our children hygiene related to nose care. If you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know that everything on this channel relates to the principle of self-government. Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. This would even include the behavior of nose picking. So usually a child that's in the habit of nose picking isn't fully aware most of the time that they're picking their nose. They're just doing that because they have decided somewhere along the line subconsciously that they enjoy the sensation of getting the nose clean, or just even trying to pick at something. So my husband happens to be a picker. He will, if he holds my hand, he will pick at things on my hand. He'll pick at my ring, he'll pick at my fingers. He picks at things. He likes to pick. Okay, now I don't know if when he was a little boy, if he was a nose picker or not. He could have been, I don't know. But as a man, he likes to pick at things. When he drives down the road in his car, if he has his hand on the window ledge, he'll pick at things on the window ledge. He likes to just pick. So that type of a sensation is satisfying for him. Now, sometimes our children end up digging in their noses, their ears, their eyes, sucking their tongues or their fingers in their mouth, all because They just like the sensation. It feels satisfying to them in some way. So what they have to learn how to do is self-govern that. How do we help them analyze that, recognize what's going on, and plan for something else? Well, this is where self-government comes in. Now, normally when I teach about self-government, I talk about the things that are in this book or in my TSG parenting course. This book, Parenting a House United, is one of the key pieces to a lot of the things that I teach, and you can find it at teachingselfgovernment.com. But in this book, I talk about the skills of self-government for the parent, the skills of self-government for the children. And I talk about how there are 4 basic skills of self-government that every person, whether they are a parent or a child, need to know. And one of those skills of self-government is accepting a no answer. So these 4 children's books right here each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government to children. So these make it nice and easy. This book here, Porter Earns a Quarter, teaches the skill accepting no answers or criticism. The same skill set for either one of those things. And a criticism often feels like somebody's telling you, no, don't do something, or that needs to change. And so it feels kind of like getting a no answer. Well, in this book, Little Porter, which is my son, each one of these books were written after written for one of my children. This book here, Little Porter, he has a hard time when things don't go his way, when he doesn't get what he wants, when he loses something, when he has to sit in a place in the car that he doesn't want to. All these types of things are all considered no answers. And he learns a 4-step process for how to accept those no answers in all those different circumstances. Now, there's something else that's a no answer, though, that people need to be aware of, and that is boundaries. Did you know that any time that there is a line that you should not cross over, that is technically a no answer? So when I shouldn't touch someone when I want to touch them, that's a no answer. When I'm too close to another person, I've crossed over a comfort zone line that people usually respect socially. That is a no answer. So when I am sucking my thumb, that's a no answer. Picking my nose, that's a no answer. There's a boundary there that I do not cross, especially if I'm in public and don't have the opportunity to wash my hands right after I did that thing. We have to teach our children what the boundaries are. Do we put our hands in our mouth? No. I taught my children that that's not a good boundary either to cross over, because that's how people get sick. Also, if they put their hands in their eyes a lot, they get sick. I didn't want my children getting sick. It's rough on them, it's rough on me. And so instead, I would just teach them, that's a no, don't do that, right? Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be taking it personally or getting emotional when they cross over one of those boundary lines. It's inevitably going to happen, but how do I handle it before and after they might cross over that boundary line? Let's talk about that. So prior to being able to correct the nose picking problem, I need to teach my child that this nose, the holes of the nose out here on the outside, is a boundary. We don't go into those holes with anything, our fingers or anything else. We don't put in there, especially when we are in public. And I'm talking about even a tissue. A lot of people, instead of putting their finger in their nose, they start wadding up tissues and sticking them up there. That is almost as awkward as nose picking, not quite as bad, but it still is kind of gross and really should be done in private. And so I teach my children, if you need to handle anything on the inside of your nose, if you blow your nose, you can't get something out, you need to have a little bit more help getting something out, then you go into the bathroom and you get a tissue and then you put it up there and try to get whatever it is from bothering you out of your nose. And you do that completely in private. And if you can't figure out the problem, if you still can't fix whatever it is and get it out of your nose, then it's just a no answer. It's something you couldn't fix and you have to deal with it for the time being until it sorts itself out. Now, this is rough on people because When you feel something, you want to think about it, and then you might over-process on it, even ruminate on it so that you can't get it out of your mind. But when you accept a no answer, you can do 4 things, which hopefully can help you get it out of your mind. These 4 things have to be chosen to do. They are deliberate actions that a person does when they are healthy enough with their self-government and with their personal control that they can make these decisions. And everyone can learn to do these things, even tiny children can. So what are the 4 steps? Number 1, look at the person or the situation. So in the nose picking circumstance, we don't look at our nose because that's hard to do. So instead what we do is we acknowledge, okay, acknowledge, I've got something in my nose that's bothering me, or I'm thinking about my nose right now and touching my nose right now. So then step number 2, keep a calm face, voice, and body. What does calmness look like? Do you know that as a parent? Because if you're handling this nose picking situation with your child or any other troubling behavior, you need to be calm, really calm. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you something that can help you with that. Do they know how to keep a calm face, voice, and body? I hope the answer to that is yes. I hope you've pre-taught what is a calm face, what is a calm body, what is a calm voice, and what's not a calm voice, what's not a calm body. They need to know those things. Then step number 3, they say, okay, which means that they're acknowledging this is the circumstance that I'm in. My nose is bothering me right now. Or they disagree appropriately. Now it's really hard to disagree appropriately with your nose. But one thing that you can do is teach your child when you need to go handle it on your own in the bathroom or something in another room, then that is technically disagreeing appropriately with the problem. You're doing it in the appropriate way. Then step number 4 is drop the subject. So if I've tried to deal with it in the appropriate way, it still doesn't work, or I say, okay, this is what's happening. I can't deal with it right now. I'm standing in front of a camera talking to people on YouTube. It's not a good time to pick my nose. This is a real deal, you guys. I mean, if I have to rub my nose or pick my eye or scratch my face, I can't do it when I'm on camera. That would be incredibly distracting to you or to anybody else. And so I have to tell myself, no. Don't do that. Don't touch your face. Don't do any of those things. While I'm talking to you, I have to tell myself no and then drop the subject, which means I don't think about it anymore. I tell my brain, move on. Don't think about that anymore. Don't be controlled by that thought. It is easy to allow ourselves to be controlled by thoughts and feelings and then to get into an emotional state or a state where we're taking actions which actually could hurt us socially or sometimes even physically if we might cause a nosebleed or something like that. So it is good to practice being able to completely drop the subject. When we teach our children these things, it ultimately turns out to be better social skills, better self-government skills for personal empowerment, and they end up having a healthier, happier life as well. So what do we do if they start picking their nose even after all of this great pre-teaching? Well, we have to be prepared with our own adult skills to help them. So there are great self-government skills in the book Parenting House United and in my TSG parenting course, which I already mentioned that you can find at teachingselfgovernment.com. And some of those skills relate directly to how you can be self-governed as you correct your children during the time that they need it. But one thing you're going to need, no matter what you use for correction, you're going to need that calmness. Calmness is a big part of parent self-government too. I have a free gift for you. In the description below this video, there is a link that says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. That link will take you to the Teaching Self-Government Calm Parenting Toolkit, and you can have it for free. So that Calm Parenting Toolkit is a mini course. It's an introductory course to one of the first things of self-government, which is calmness. And once you get started on that, you should be able to see improvements in your parenting almost instantly. Maybe you won't have perfect parenting yet, but you should be able to rein yourself in and feel a little bit less drained, a little bit more empowered, more deliberate and proactive, which will help you with all of the other self-government lessons to come. So click on the link below this video and I'll see you there.